Strobe Studios presents Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger in The Watson Files. Coming to you from the illustrious Strobe Studios in the heart of America, this is Craig Dahlen. Now, let's join the doctor and see what story he has for us today.
Come in. Hello, Craig. How are you this evening?
Well, quite well, actually. I've been doing some thinking about the story you began last week.
Is that so?
Yes, and it was that woman.
Oh, Adele Ira?
Yes, I know I've heard that name before, but I'm not sure where.
Yes, I'm sure you probably have. Holmes seems to have a particular fascination with that woman.
Ah, I see. He must have mentioned her to me before.
Indeed. As you'll recall from last week, the mysterious Adele Ira is in possession of a damaging photograph of the King of Bohemia, who has contracted the service of our dear friend Spencer Holmes to retrieve the item in question.
And Holmes spent a day spying on her.
And managed to get himself roped into being a witness at her sudden wedding.
Yes, it sounded like an odd affair, to say the least.
That was Holmes's assessment as well. Having spent most of the day following the now Mrs. Ira, Holmes was quite hungry, so I joined him for a quick dinner while he explained his plan to me.
You really should learn how to work chopsticks one of these days, Watson.
And what good would that do me?
When you expand your horizons, you never know what could happen.
Yes, sure.
So, can I expect your cooperation this evening?
Of course, Holmes.
You don't mind breaking the law?
Well,
Nor running the chance of arrest?
Holmes, why is it every time...
It's for a good cause.
Oh, well, then, of course.
Good. I knew I could count on you.
And what is it we'll be doing exactly?
It's nearly 5 now, and in 2 hours we must be on the scene of action. Miss Ira, or rather Mrs. now, returns from her drive at 7. We must be at her home to meet her.
And what then?
You leave that to me. I have already arranged what is to occur. There is only one point on which I must insist. You must not interfere, come what may. You understand?
I am to be neutral?
To do nothing whatever. There will probably be some small unpleasantness. Do not join in it. It will end in my being conveyed into the house. 4 or 5 minutes afterwards, the sitting-room window will open. You are to station yourself close to that open window.
Okay.
You are to watch me, for I will be visible to you.
All right.
And when I whistle like so, you will throw into the room what I give you to throw, and will, at the same time, raise the cry of fire. Do you follow me? Good. Here you are, then.
A smoke bomb?
Simply light and throw. Your task is confined to that. When you raise your cry of fire, it will be taken up by quite a number of people. You may then walk to the end of the street, and I will rejoin you in 10 minutes. Is that all clear?
Oh, yes, as mud.
If it's too difficult for you, Watson, I could find someone else.
No, Holmes, I've got it. I am to remain neutral, to get near the window, to watch you, and at the signal to throw this object, then to raise the cry of fire, and to wait for you at the corner of the street.
Precisely. I think perhaps it is almost time that I prepare for the new role I have to play.
The new role?
Yes, Watson, I'll be spending the evening in the guise of a clergyman.
Whatever for?
All in good time, Doctor. So, are you ready to go?
How can you so entirely change your appearance in such a short time?
It is more than just what you wear, Watson. To truly become someone, you must change your manner, your expression, your very soul.
Right. And the prosthetic nose helps you as well.
Yes, that too. Shall we? You see, this marriage rather simplifies matters, Watson.
How so?
The photograph becomes a double-edged weapon now. The chances are that she would be as adverse to its being seen by Mr. Godfrey Norton as our client is to its coming to the eyes of his princess. Now the question is, where are we to find the photograph?
Where indeed?
It is unlikely that she carries it about on her person. She knows that the king is capable of having her waylaid and searched. 2 attempts of the sort have already been made. We may take it, then, that she does not carry it about with her.
Where then?
Her banker or her lawyer. There is that double possibility, but I am inclined to think neither. Women are naturally secretive, and they like to do their own secreting. Why should she hand it over to anyone else? She could trust her own guardianship, but she could not tell what indirect or political influence might be brought to bear upon a businessman. It must be in her own house.
But it has been burgled twice.
They did not know how to look.
Oh, and I suppose you do.
No, I'm not going to look.
What?
I'm going to have her show it to me.
Holmes, she's just not
She'll
going to...
have no choice, Watson. Now hush, here comes a cab. Remember what I told you?
Do whatever is necessary to protect you. Yes, I remember.
No, Watson!
I know. Remain neutral. Don't worry, Holmes.
Yes, good.
Here, ma'am, let me help you.
Hey, I was here first. That's my cue.
What'd you do?
Me? I didn't touch him.
Let's get out of here.
Are you all right, sir? Please, come inside. I can't just leave you lying here in the street.
I don't know if I can.
Here, let me help you.
Thank you.
Of course, I'll call for an ambulance.
I can't. Air!
What?
Breathe! Window!
Of course.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
We have to get out of here.
Fire!
Look, it's just a smoke bomb.
What?
There's no fire.
Oh. Well, that's good.
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes, I think so. I think I just got the wind knocked out of me.
Are you sure?
Quite. You did quite well, Watson. It couldn't have worked out much better.
Did you get the photograph?
I know where it is.
And how did you find out?
She showed me, just as I told you she would.
I'm afraid I'm still in the dark.
Shall we walk and talk, Watson? I should like to return home and wash off this paint.
Certainly.
The matter was perfectly simple. You, of course, realize that the men in the street were accomplices. They were all engaged for the evening.
Oh, of course.
Then when the row broke out, I had a little moist red paint on the palm of my hand. I rushed forward, fell down, clapped a hand to my face, and became a piteous spectacle. It is an old trick.
Oh, I expected as much.
Then she carried me in. She was bound to have me in. What else could she do? And into her sitting room, which was the very room which I suspected. It lay between that and her bedroom, and I was determined to see which. I motioned for air, she was compelled to open the window, and you had your chance.
And how did that help you?
When a woman thinks that her house is on fire, her instinct is at once to rush to the thing which she values most. It is a perfectly overpowering impulse, and I have more than once taken advantage of it. You may recall it was of particular use in the case of Admiral Geldheimer and his butler's lottery ticket, and also in the Arnsworth Castle business. A married woman grabs at her baby, an unmarried one reaches for her jewel box.
Yes, I suppose that does make sense.
Now it was clear to me that Our Lady of today had nothing in the house more precious to her than what we are in quest of. She would rush to secure it. The alarm of fire was admirably done. I must say, Watson, the smoke and shouting were enough to shake nerves of steel. She responded beautifully. The photograph is in a recess behind a sliding panel just above the door chime. She was there in an instant, and I caught a glimpse of it as she half drew it out. When I cried out that it was a false alarm, she replaced it. I rose and, making my excuses, escaped from the house. I hesitated whether to attempt to secure the photograph at once, but as she was watching me narrowly, it seemed safer to wait. A little over-precipitance may ruin all.
So, what now?
Our quest is practically finished. I shall call with the king tomorrow, and with you, if you care to come with us. We will be shown into the sitting room to wait for the lady, but it is probable that when she comes she may find neither us nor the photograph. It might be a satisfaction to His Majesty to regain it with his own hands.
And when will you call?
At 8 in the morning. She will not be up, so that we shall have a clear field. Besides, we must be prompt, for this marriage may mean a complete change in her life and habits. I must wire to the king without delay.
Excuse me.
Not a problem, young man.
Good night, Mr. Holmes.
Watson, I've heard that voice before.
I didn't recognize it.
I wonder who that could have been.
So, shall I come by early for breakfast in the morning?
Yes, that should be fine.
I'll see you then.
So, you are sure of the photo's location?
Quite sure the lady was quite easily tricked into revealing its location.
I can't believe it.
There is something else you should know.
What's that?
Adele Ira is married.
Married? When?
Yesterday,
But to whom?
to a lawyer named Norton.
But she could not love him.
I hope that she does,
And why is that?
because it would spare your majesty all fear of future annoyance. If the lady loves her husband, she does not love you. If she does not love you, there is no reason that she should interfere with your plan.
That's true, and yet... Well, I wish she had been of my own station. What a queen she would have made.
Here we are.
Who's that woman in the doorway?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Spencer Holmes, I believe.
I am Holmes.
Indeed. My mistress told me that you were likely to call. She left this morning with her husband on the 5:15 flight to Costa Rica.
What? You mean she has left the country?
Never to return.
And the papers? All is lost.
We shall see. Excuse me, ma'am.
What is it?
A photograph, but not the one in question. I'm afraid it's just Adele.
And a letter?
Yes, addressed to Spencer Holmes, Esquire.
What's it say?
You really did it very well. You took me in completely. Until after the alarm of fire, I had not a suspicion. But then when I found how I had betrayed myself, I began to think.
I'd been warned against you months ago. I'd been told that if the king employed an agent, it would certainly be you, and your address had been given me. Yet, with all of this, you made me reveal what you wanted to know. Even after I became suspicious, I found it hard to think evil of such a dear, kind old clergyman. But, you know, I have been trained as an actress myself. Male costume is nothing new to me. Once you left, I got into my walking clothes, as I call them, and came down just as you departed. Well, I followed you to your door, and so made sure that I was really an object of interest to the celebrated Mr. Spencer Holmes. Then I, rather imprudently, wished you a good night, and started off to see my husband. We both thought the best resource was flight, when pursued by so formidable an antagonist, so you will find the nest empty when you call tomorrow. As to the photograph, your client may rest in peace. I love and am loved by a better man than he. The king may do what will without hindrance from one whom he has cruelly wronged. I keep it only to safeguard myself, and to preserve a weapon which will always secure me from any steps which he might take in the future. I leave a photograph which he might care to possess, and I remain,
dear Mr. Spencer Holmes, very truly yours, Adele Norton.
What a woman! Did I not tell you how quick and resolute she is? Would she not have made an admirable queen? It's a pity that she was not on my level.
From what I have seen of the lady, she seems indeed to be on a very different level to your majesty.
I'm sorry that we weren't able to bring your business to a more successful conclusion.
On the contrary, nothing could be more satisfactory. I know that her word is pure. The photo is safe.
Good. Then it's another job well done, it seems.
Please tell me how I can repay you. Perhaps this ring.
Your majesty has something that I should value even more highly.
Name it.
That photograph.
Adele's photograph? Certainly, if you wish.
I thank you, sir. Then there is no more to be done in the matter. I have the honor to wish you a very good morning.
And that was how a great scandal threatened to affect the Kingdom of Bohemia, and how the best plans of Mr. Spencer Holmes were beaten by a woman's wit. He used to make merry over the cleverness of women, but I have not heard him do it of late.
Well, I should think not.
And when he speaks of Adele Ira, or when he refers to her photograph, it is always under the honorable title, The Woman.
Yes, that's where I've heard the name. I inquired about the photo on his end table once.
Indeed.
So what story do you have for us next week, Doctor?
Well, next week I've got a little ghost story for you. It should prove highly entertaining.
Sounds good. Tonight's Watson Files adventure was written by Scott Strosahl and was based on an original story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Spencer Holmes and Dr. Watson were played by Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger. Additional voices were provided by Steve Rimpici.
And Megan Hensley.
Until next week, this is Craig Dahlen saying good night from Strobe Studios.
I'll do my best.
To do nothing whatever. There will probably be... You will throw into the room what I give you to throw, and will, at the same time, raise the cry of fire. Do you follow me?
I don't know if I follow you. Let me turn the page. Nope, I don't know yet.
Women are naturally secretive.
Yeah, this episode is
Nice
full
assumption, Holmes.
This episode's kind of full of a lot of
I'm in trouble. Don't listen to this one, Mummy. And they like to do their own secreting. Oh, wow. I read secreting the first time.
Well, I'm glad it came out secreting.
Oh, dear.
But it has been burgled twice. Burgled. What a fun word.
Oh.
You can sound more dead than that, can't you? You've got blood flowing out of your face as you're lying on the ground.
I like this. I don't know if I can. And when I whistle like so...
Perfect.
I can't whistle.
You really can't
I really can't. I can, like, wheeze subtly.